Hey guys, Marstingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. So, as well as an extreme Super Battle Road stage, JP is getting a normal stage of Super Battle Road as well. And that is the stage for Bond of Master and Disciple. So, this is a pretty big category. I guess it's not massive, but it's pretty decently sized. It's got a very nice variation of different characters. So there are a lot of good options. There's a lot of leaders as well. So obviously, depending on your box, you're going to have a lot of options for this particular stage. There's no data on this one, no page on the wiki or anything yet. So we don't know who the enemies are, how many there's going to be. Obviously, it's a category stage, so there'll be 3 fights, but we don't know what those are going to look like yet, unfortunately. So, as always with my team building guides, I'm going to go over my top picks and my honourable mentions. If there's any units that you think I didn't talk about enough or didn't mention at all, let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, if you do find the guide helpful, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new for more content. So, let's go ahead and jump straight in. So, one of the starting places, one of the best leaders for the team is the AGL Kid Gohan. Bond of Master and Disciple, his leader skill is 3 key, HP attack and defense 150. So not necessarily as high as some of the other units, but this guy is super good. Even if you just want to use him as like a 3rd slot floating unit, because he raises defense on super attack. If you have an ally whose name includes Piccolo on the team, which you can do quite easily on Bond of Master and Disciple, he then also greatly raises attack for 1 turn. He does immense damage to the enemy, and his unit super has a high chance to stun, whereas his normal super only has a medium chance to stun. So he's really good. After supering, his defense is incredibly high. He just has a very large amount of of defense, especially when there's another Heavenly Events character attacking in the same turn. He gets additional attack and stuns enemies attacked by the super attack within the same turn after receiving an attack. So if you do run the risk of putting him in slot 1, he gets a nice attack buff and gets a guaranteed stun for the 1 turn. And then obviously, potentially, his super attack effect stun could go off, so it will be a 2-turn stun. And then he also gives all allies 3 key and 58% defense. So even if you want to use him as a 3rd slot floating unit, giving everyone key and defense is really good. Then he has an active skill that you can use no turn restriction when HP is 58% or less, and it recovers 38% HP, sorry, 30%. Gives him guard and raises all allies defense by 20% for 2 turns. So like, if you're going into the 2nd or 3rd fight on 58% or less HP, you can just use this straight away, and then turn 1 is going to be super tanky for your whole rotation. So really good. Definitely a must bring unit if you have him. Not necessarily the best leader, but a must-bring unit, I guess I should have said. Because in terms of leads, we also have the LR, Future Gohan and Trunks. They also give 150%, but they do give 4 key. So obviously, technically, they are a better leader. They do raise attack and defense on their 12 key. They greatly raise defense on their 18 key. So obviously, their defense is very good after supering. They create their own AGL orbs. And as long as you pick up 5, you get extra defense, extra attack, extra crit chance, but they have to be AGL. If you can only pick up 5 orbs of a different typing, they do still get the defense and the crit chance and the damage reduction, which is probably the most important part, but they get the attack and more crit chance if they get them as actual AGL orbs. So obviously that is the most useful. And as long as you pick up 8 or more orbs, they get a guaranteed additional super attack. So if you're getting their 18 key and then getting the guaranteed additional 12 key, it's a secondary raise of their defense, another raise on attack. So they could do a ton of damage. And then yeah, if you start the 3rd turn, 58% or less HP, you can then exchange into Future Gohan. When you exchange, obviously, the Future Gohan, I don't know why they did it this way, but when you exchange, Future Gohan basically has, like, no defense. And so then he gets hit, gets killed, but then revives with 85% HP recovery, and then you get his full passive to activate. And once he's actually revived and is the proper, like, full power solo Future Gohan, he is ridiculously powerful. So there is a bit of combination you can do with this, because he doesn't heal until his revival. So if you start the turn at 58% or less HP, you could exchange first, then heal with Kid Gohan's active skill, and then potentially in that turn, the Future Gohan might not even die. But I mean, he gets extra ki and then defense and damage reduction. So, I mean, if he doesn't die, he's still going to be putting out good damage. But that can give you a nice heal and then potentially save the revival for a later turn and get another heal. So, really, really good. Next up, we have the original Bond of Master and Disciple category lead, Int Future Gohan. 3 ki, HP attack 170, defense 130. So he has the highest leader skill in terms of attack and HP, but the defense is obviously a little bit lower, which is not so great. He greatly raises defense on his super attack. He has reasonable stats. He has damage reduction when HP is 58% or less. He's also a support unit for the team. And then if you have a Trunks on the team, it can be any, it has to be a non-kid Trunks, but I think those are the only ones in this category anyway. And then he'll transform on turn 4 into Super Saiyan Future Gohan. When he transforms, he has damage reduction all the time. He gets extra ki and attack and defense per Bond of Master and Disciple ally in the same turn, which obviously on this stage is the whole team, so that's really good. And then launches an additional super when there is an android category enemy, which, as I say, we don't know. Maybe one of the stages will be against androids, and if it is, then that would obviously be very good for him because he infinitely stacks attack. So getting a double super turn, and then of course with the hidden potential you could get a triple super turn, he'll be looking very, very good. So him on the team, like linked up with like the AGL one or something, devastating combo. So next up, we have the Int Cabe. I had to include him in here, of course. Shout out to my boy Minato. He is a Bond of Master and Disciple sub-lead, so 3 ki and 130. So he can be kind of like a last resort leader. He has a unit super attack if you have a Vegeta on the team, and there are some Vegetas on the team, which enables him to raise defense as well as attack, and he does supreme damage. He's a Universe Survival Saga support unit, so not super good really for the rest of the team. But, you know, he could do okay. 60% attack extra when your team has a Vegeta attacking in the same turn. So he's very limited, but obviously you can use him as a sub-leader if you don't have another option. You could also use this physical Goku. He only has a 120 lead, but obviously that is better than nothing. He's a good unit to bring anyway, though, because he's an orb changer, a nuker. You can get a nice bit of healing off of his orb changing. His defense is pretty good after supering as long as you pick up a decent amount of orbs, but like with any nuker, if you get a bad turn for him, then obviously he then becomes a liability, so that is a little bit unfortunate. But there are some other units that can benefit from there being a Goku on the team, so he is a decent option to consider. Next up, we have the LR Prime Battle Trunks. Obviously has his Easy A. He's very, very good. Raises defense on his 12 ki. Massively raises attack on his 18 ki. He gets his full stats when there's 2 or more enemies. So obviously Super Battle Road is very, very good for him. If you can make it so that he lands the final blow on the first enemy you kill, then he gets a nice extra buff as well. So he's going to look even better in the following turns. That can be annoying sometimes to actually get, like, especially if you're attacking an enemy that's got, like, you know, just under half health, and then they survive with a tiny sliver of HP. Pretty annoying, but he is very good after his Easy A. I was very impressed. We only just got his Easy A on Global recently, and I was very impressed when actually trying him out in-game. So he is a very, very good option for Super Battle Road, and obviously a lot of other units will require a Trunks, so he can be very good for that. Next up, we have Roshi. Of course, Master Roshi can be very good. He can stun on his 12 ki, he seals on his 18 ki, he has a built-in chance to dodge, he has a revival if there are 2 or more Turtle School allies on the team, which I think is quite difficult to do. There's not a huge amount of Gokus on this team, so you might not be able to get the revival, but even so, he can be very good for the utility just with the super attack effects that he has, because stunning, very powerful in Super Battle Road, obviously, and he has a 70% chance to stun on his 12 ki, so he can be very, very useful. Probably more of an honorable mention than a top pick, but definitely very useful. Next up, we have this physical LR Gohan from the OG stages of Super Battle Road. With his Easy A, he's really, really good if you are going to run a Goku, because if you have them on rotation together, he has 58% damage reduction. So that, coupled with the stats that he already has, the fact that he greatly raises his defense on his 18 ki super, like if there's a Goku on rotation, he can actually tank really, really well. So he can be very good. His 12 ki does have a medium chance to stun, but ideally you want to go for his 18 ki so you can get this greatly raising defense. If you don't have any Gokus to bring, I probably wouldn't bring him, however, because he really does need this 58% damage reduction in order to be good defensively. But if you are bringing a Goku, he's a very solid pick. Next up, we have I say the new, he's obviously fairly new recently on Global, the AGL Dokkan Fest Trunks. Super Battle Road is kind of where you'd think his transformation ability would be the most useful, but he has to perform 6 attacks, which means even with the best RNG, he can't transform until turn 5. But he's still very good. Not a good slot 1 unit. He gets a lot of his defense when attacking. He gets defense on super attack. He can launch a bunch of additional attacks, which then trigger launching an additional super. Then all those attacks can trigger the hidden potential system. So in total, he can attack 5 times in 1 turn, and 3 of them could be super attacks. So with good RNG, he's really, really good. And then once you've performed 6 or more attacks, you can transform into Super Saiyan Trunks. When you transform, the enemy that you're targeting when you transform gets stunned and sealed. So obviously for Super Battle Road, he could be really, really good if you can actually get that ability while there's still enemies left alive. And then once he's transformed, he's got very high attack power. He has a built-in 70% chance to crit. So if you do get to transform him, it's pretty much going to be a finisher in this stage. But he's very, very good even in his base form. Next up, we have Super Saiyan 3 Trunks from the Heroes. Got his Easy A last year. Really, really good defensive unit. Unfortunately, has a chance to guard. But even when he doesn't guard, post-super attack, his defense is still really, really good. I mean, he'll probably get rocked by like a type disadvantage super if his guard is not active. But if it is, then he can be really, really good. Doesn't hit crazy hard, but his attack stats are actually pretty decent as long as you have a good link partner for him. Sadly, there's not a lot of good Super Saiyan 3s on the team, but he will link up with some other Trunkses quite well, so he can be a very good option as well. Next up, we have the AGL Blue Evolution Vegeta. Remember, he's getting his Easy A the same day that these stages release, so you can always do his Easy A first and then use him on the team, and he would be a Vegeta that you can use alongside Cabe. We also have the STR Whis. So Whis is really good even without a Beerus. Beerus is on the category, but I don't really rate physical Beerus like in Super Battle Road. But, you know, he has a 70% chance to dodge. He lowers attack and seals. So he's just very, very good. He doesn't link up super well with some of the units we've mentioned, although he does have shocking speed. So technically, a rotation of him in slot 1 and AGL Trunks in slot 2 would actually be a very viable rotation for Super Battle Road. So that could be very good. You don't get the HP recovery if you don't have a Beerus on the team, but I think he's just really good even without a Beerus. And then, of course, there's also Vados, who does a similar sort of thing. She only has a 50% chance to dodge, but she does give a nice little buff to everyone on the team because she does Bond of Master and Disciple. And then, obviously, any characters that are in Siblings Bond or Realm of Gods or Universe 6 or any combination, they stack up these buffs. So she can be very good. She can change orbs if there's a Universe 6 ally attacking in the same turn. So if you have brought Cabe, she can be a Rainbow Orb Changer. And she also lowers attack and seals, so very useful utility. Then we have this STR Trunks. So we have a lot of Trunkses, a lot of hybrid Saiyans on the team. So this guy can be really, really good. He's the 40% support for hybrid Saiyans. But on top of that, he can additional super built in. He has a chance to stun on his super attack, and he raises attack and defense with each super. So his defense is actually very, very good post super attack. And then if you are bringing any Gohan youths, then obviously he gets his unit super, which has a higher chance to stun and gives him a higher attack stat. So if you're bringing a bunch of hybrid Saiyans, I would probably say he's like an auto include on the team. Next up, we have God Vegeta. Obviously, on JP, he has his Easy A. So even though he only has a chance to guard, he's still really, really good. Very good defensively. Gets an attack buff after receiving an attack. Can launch an additional attack. If there is a Pure Saiyan or Movie Boss enemy, which, again, we don't know the enemies for this stage yet, he has a great chance to stun them for the duration of the turn, which is very, very nice. He greatly raises attack, so additionals, of course, are going to make him do even more damage. So he can be a very good Vegeta. They don't link up perfectly, but you can obviously run him and the AGL Blue Vegeta together, and this Vegeta would be very, very good defensively. So, very good option. Next up, we have this Future Gohan. So Future Gohan with his Easy A became one of the top Easy A like TURs at the time. He's really, really good. He does rely on you having a Future Saga Trunks in the same turn, but we've already talked about a bunch of them that are really good. So he can definitely get his full potential and be very, very powerful in this event as well. Next up, we have this Tech Trunks. He's a perfect rotation partner for that physical Gohan. He's really, really good after his Easy A. He gets an extra attack and defense of 80% when there's only one enemy. If there's two enemies, he gets more defense and a medium chance to guard. So him and the future Gohan together really are really strong for Super Battle Road. So I would definitely recommend bringing these two as a rotation if you have them. And then last but not least, we have the Super Trunks. There's the STR one as well. I just picked the physical one. They are very similar. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. I guess once we see the enemy list, if there's more AGL enemies, then the physical one would be good. Or if there's a ton of like int enemies, then the STR one would be better. But Super Trunks, definitely a good option as well. So, Bond of Master and Disciple, a lot of strong options on here. Not a lot of Gokus. Obviously, these Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 Youth Gohans are on here if you want to trigger the unit super for STR Trunks. Same with the Easy A for the Int one. I didn't mention the LR Blue Evolution Vegeta. We only mentioned the TUR, but obviously he can be very good as well, linked up with the AGL Super Saiyan Blue, or the God Vegeta, or even, you know, utilizing Cabe with his unit super and all that kind of stuff. So this category, decently sized. There are a bunch of Gokus. If you are running a bunch of Realm of Gods characters, then obviously this blue Goku can be really good, but he does need to be on a rotation full of Realm of Gods units, so he's not always the most optimal. But if you're bringing a build that includes units like the Whis, the Vados, the different God Vegetas, he can definitely work as well. So there are a lot of options for this team. Blue Kaioken is on here, so you can use the Spirit Bomb nuke strategy. So there's enough Gokus that you can get the most out of Master Roshi as well. So let me know what you guys think down below. Like I said at the beginning, if you think I missed out anyone or should have talked in more detail about a unit, let me know down below. And let me know what your team build is going to look like for this stage. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.